How to actually get shredded. Alright, I've done the fat diets video and I mostly just made fun of how stupid they are, but I barely dwelled on how to actually do the fat loss thing successfully. So here you go. First things first, let's clear up some myths. No fat diets. No eating cotton or baby food. You also don't have to completely starve yourself. People tend to approach this with a black or white mentality. You either eat whatever you want or nothing at all. Fat or adipose often pose a lot of woes. But what is fat and is it bad? No, it's not necessarily bad. Adipose or body fat is your body's way of storing extra energy. It's made up of fat cells that expand when you eat more calories than you burn. Adipose tissue does more than just store fat though. It helps to insulate your body, cushions your organs, and even produces some hormones. There are two main types: white adipose tissue, which stores energy, and brown, which unlike white does not accumulate lipids just as a storage depot, but as a source of fatty acids to be oxidized in the mitochondria when the brown fat thermogenesis is activated in order to produce a heat. However, we have a lot less of brown fat. It's mostly just around the neck, kidneys, adrenal glands, and a few more. Babies and bears have more of it though. Anyway, every single one of us has fat. Here for example, because some fat is healthy and necessary. It's too much which can lead to health issues, so balance is key. And you know what that means? It means that technically we shouldn't classify individuals into fat and non-fat, but rather into more fat and less fat. Girl, you look less fat compared to the majority of the population. It boils down to the number of calories you consume versus burn. First law of thermodynamics: energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if you eat in a calorie deficit, your body cannot just bazinga extra energy and store that shit in your adipose tissue. So sounds simple, right? Just eat less and move more. But it's not that straightforward. You wanna know something interesting? The biggest difference between fat and not so fat people is their hunger. Yep, the metabolism differences are minor. It's mostly just how much food you naturally want to eat. Heard of semaglutides like Ozempic? Well, guess what about them helps you lose weight? You guessed it, I guess. They decrease appetite, but it's still a bit more complicated because the food you eat matters as well. You can eat a bunch of low-calorie foods, fully satisfy your appetite, and be skinny as a brini. Or you can munch on some crunch a few times a day and you're cooked. So your behavioral food choices matter. And that's for sure a lifestyle change you can do. But how? Now it so happens that tasty foods usually have a bunch of calorinos, so you'll have to have an idea of calories and macros in foods. What are those? Protein, 4 calories per gram. Protein is essential for building and repairing tissues, including muscles, skin, and organs, and a lot of other functions. Common sources include fish, meat, eggs, dairy, and so on. Protein is the least likely to be stored as fat. It also promotes a feeling of fullness, which can help with weight management. Carbs, 4 calories per gram. Carbs are the body's primary energy source, especially for the brain and during intense exercise. They are broken down into glucose, which fuels your body's cells. Types: simple carbs, sugars, found in fruits, sweets, and sugary drinks. They can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar and insulin. Complex carbs, starches and fibers, found in whole grains, vegetables, and so on. They provide sustained energy and include fiber, which aids in digestion and can help regulate blood sugar. Excess carbs, especially refined ones, can lead to insulin spikes, and if not used for energy, may be stored as fat. Fats, 9 calories, making them the most calorie-dense macronutrient. Fats are essential for absorbing fat-soluble vitamins, providing long-term energy, supporting cell structure, and producing important hormones. Types: saturated fats, found in animal products like butter and red meat. Unsaturated fats, found in olive oil, avocados, nuts, and seeds. Trans fats, found in some processed foods. Best avoided as they can raise bad cholesterol, lower good cholesterol, and perform drag time story hour to kids. Impact on body fat. Due to their high caloric density, fats can contribute to weight gain if consumed in excess. But remember kids, they are crucial in moderation for a balanced diet. Real quick, consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything and it means a lot to me. Plus you can always unsubscribe if you change your mind. Now once you know something about calories and macros, it will be a good idea to start tracking them. Basal metabolic rate, BMR. You can calculate yours on the internet for free. Just enter your stats and you will be given a rough estimation of calories that you burn a day. Take those calories, subtract at first like a couple hundred, eat that for a week, and see see whether you lost any weight. If you did, then great. Eat like this until you stop losing weight and then subtract another 200 calories. If you're not losing weight, well, then subtract like another 100 or a couple from your BMR.
But Gustav, aren't there more factors that play in?
Well, kind of. Hormones like insulin, cortisol, and ghrelin can either help or hinder your fat loss journey. And trust me, if your hormones are out of whack, it's like trying to run a marathon with a hangover. Talking about marathons, exercise. Cardio is good, jogging, swimming, dancing, any sort of movement whatsoever. But a lot of it stresses your joints and decreases muscle, so don't overdo it. Another thing that helps is having more muscle. Building muscle increases your basal metabolic rate. Muscle is cool, and cool things cost more. In this case, more is calories. So the more of it you have, the more calories you burn, even at rest. Squats, deadlifts, bench presses, compound movements are your bread and butter. Focus on the stretched part of the movement and control the descent. Watch my muscle building video for more tips. Hydration. Your muscles are like dried up sponges without water. Drink up, aiming for about 3 to 4 liters a day should keep things flowing. However, if you're young and have functioning kidneys, you should also listen to how thirsty you are since your body is regulating itself. Pro tip, if your urine is the color of lemon Fanta, you're dehydrated. Sleep, the most underrated fat loss weapon. If you're treating sleep like it's an optional side quest, you're gonna get the side quest loot. Poor sleep screws with your hormones. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, goes up, while leptin, the fullness hormone, goes down. Not a good duo. Sleep is when your muscles repair and grow. If you're not sleeping, you're not recovering. And if you're not recovering, you're not building muscle. And building muscle helps you lose weight a lot. And also, if you don't recover, you can't really train anymore, which means you don't burn a lot of calories. Some tips on how to get good sleep would be: try to develop a good circadian rhythm, which means you go to sleep and wake up roughly at the same time. Don't expose yourself to a lot of bright lights a couple of hours before going to sleep. And don't ingest caffeine at least 6 hours before your slumbers. Consistency is king. You know what's better than a crazy 2-week fat loss challenge? A sustainable lifestyle change. You need to commit to this even if you have unhealthy commitment issues that cause you to avoid forming meaningful relationships and taking any sort of responsibility, which eventually leaves you alone, depressed, and void of meaning. So be consistent. A good tip for having more motivation is to imagine how pathetic your life will be if you don't lock in and get shredded, and also how amazing it'll be if you will. In other words, have something that you're running away from and something you're running towards at the same time. Anyway, if you found this guide helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more of my nonsense. And remember, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best is now.